yesterday, I always like when this happens, right? Kevin Keatts, head coach, NC State men's basketball, had a press conference called his annual summer press conference. It used to be like, I would assume, right? The summer times you talk to a head basketball coach, it was like, how's the golf game, right? What's the beach like this time of year?
Where you vacation at?
Because there used to be an off season. Now, we're about to play you 4 clips of Kevin Keatts talking about 4 different incoming transfers, right? This offseason was – and by the way, NC State had a storybook season last year, right? Before that season was even over, right? Before they lost in the Final Four to Purdue, they had already inked new players or gotten commitments from new players in the transfer portal for next year. The seasons literally overlapped. So the summer press conferences that we used to, oh, coach, so, where you played golf recently? Yeah, did you make it to the beach or whatever it was? Now is like, hey, serious question here. What's the roster look like? How do you intend to use this player? What do you like about this transfer? College basketball is 365, 366 on a leap year, days of work now and things to catch up on. So the Kevin Keatts press conference yesterday, Graham was in attendance. There's a lot to learn. Starting with what he likes about Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, one of those transfers.
Talented. As you guys know, him and both Mike and James played at Louisville, and the one thing that we talked about is they were leading at halftime, in that ACC tournament. So I think that's kind of what sold me on those guys. But Brandon's got a chance to be really good. He can step out, he can shoot it. He's gonna, there's no replacement for DJ Burns. So if everybody's saying that it's Brandon replacing DJ, no, because nobody in the country plays that way. And by the way, I'll talk about Summer League in a minute. Those guys are doing really good, and we should be proud of it. But he's talented, can really step out and shoot it. I think he's going to be really good for us.
It's interesting he talks about no one's going to replace DJ Burns because it's impossible. Like, you can, if there was another DJ Burns out there, of course you would try to get him, but they just don't exist, right? The people of that size, that footwork, that touch, he almost doesn't exist. But that's not what I think Brandon Huntley-Hatfield is here for. I think Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, I'm going to have to get better at saying that name. I think he's at NC State to replace Mo Diarra, right? The big that can shoot, the big that's 6'10", not 300 and something pounds. I think he's there to be a floor spacer and maybe even, allow them to play a little bit, not smaller, but a smaller style when he's on the court.
And also to help provide some assistance in the rebounding production. Kevin Keatts also talked about, he said nothing against DJ Burns, but DJ Burns just didn't rebound. It was
a choice.
It was a choice for DJ Burns.
Spend his energy elsewhere.
Exactly. And he was just saying how this year he wants this entire team to rebound by committee. He doesn't want it to just be kind of one main guy like
Diarra.
Like a Mo Diarra last year. Even Ben Middlebrooks, who contributed a little bit in some rebounding. But yeah, Brandon Huntley-Hatfield, 12 points, 8 rebounds, and his average last year at Louisville started 32 games for the Cardinals.
I also think it's funny that you bring up his season-long stats because with the transfer portal, I wish I had the time to make the massive spreadsheet that could actually track this, but I'm willing to bet that when a player plays against a team and goes well above their averages and then enters the transfer portal, the team that they played really well against is way more likely to go get them.
Yeah.
Brandon Huntley-Hatfield in that ACC tournament game that coach referenced where Louisville was leading early on, 12 points ahead of NC State before NC State mounted the comeback. Huntley-Hatfield had 17 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 assists, along with a block and 2 steals. Now, everything aside from rebounds, that was above his season average. He averaged in rebounding 8 per game on the season, but he had 7 in that one. Other than that, he averaged 13 points per game. He had 17 against NC State in a crucial game where all eyeballs were on him. He averaged 1 assist per game. He had 4 against NC State in a crucial game where all eyeballs were on him. He averaged little less than 1 block. He had a block against NC State. He averaged about half a steal. He had 2 against NC State. So, of course they were interested in him. They just almost lost their entire magical run because Huntley-Hatfield was having a good day. Now they're like, let's get that guy on the squad, and they did. And he was one of their first commits before the end of the season even came to be.
And like even when NC State was in the middle of their NCAA tournament run, of course, Louisville's season had come to an end. Brandon Huntley-Hatfield was like already reaching out to NC State, like saying, "Hey,
that looks like fun.
That looks like fun. I want to be a part of an NCAA tournament run like that. You guys were the ones that ruined it for me. Can I come over to the dark side?"
Yeah, exactly. The same. I already have a bunch of red gear.
Fair, yeah. I already have enough Adidas socks, enough Adidas basketball shoes that are red, black, and white. I don't have to go change my wardrobe up much.
We can make this work. We'll just
same thing
put
with Mike
tape
James.
over the team name.
Yeah.
Same thing with Mike James. Let's talk about Mike James. Here's Kevin Keatts on incoming transfer guard Mike James from Louisville.
Mike James, 6'5", 6'6", strong, driver, can really shoot the basketball. He'll play some 2 and 3 fours. I think that'll be, I'm looking for someone to replace DJ Horn. I don't know that I'm gonna have anyone to replace him the way he played, but I think both of those guys will be really good.
And as I said that whole speech about he played really well against NC State, that's why they wanted him. I actually think a big part of the reason why NC State was able to complete the comeback against Louisville is because they bottled up Mike James in a lot of ways.
Right.
A lot of ways. Held him to less than 50% of his scoring average, and he didn't shoot particularly well. Mike James, to me, is a depth piece right now, right? That's not knocking Mike James' physical ability. But you look at like the Jaden Taylors out there, I think they're going to get the first crack at being like that DJ Horn role that coach was talking about.
Dennis Parker Jr.
Yep. And that's another interesting one because I like his jumper. I just think like the leading scorer on the perimeter, there's going to be a few other people that get the first swing at it before you get to Mike James. But if you get to Mike James, he's certainly capable. He's a double-digit scorer in the ACC, almost 13 points per game on the year. And when you do that in the ACC, you're going to be attractive to a lot of guys in the portal.
Might not be a bad thing for Mike James to come off the bench for NC State next season, add some bench scoring.
Or even if he is a starter, being the starter that's not always hunting for their shot, right? Which is just a different role rather than a different time into the game.
Focusing more on defense.
I did notice Kevin Keatts, when talked about Donte Styles, did bring up that he's a Kinston native, as is our very own Graham Hill. So here is Kevin Keatts talking about your neighbor.
Coach Keatts, one of the new guys that I want to ask you about is Donte Styles. Obviously, Kinston, North Carolina native, has college experience playing right down the road from here. What did you like about his game when you recruited him in high school, and what do you like about his summer workouts?
You mean Donte is a transfer from Georgetown?
Yeah, exactly, yep.
Yeah, no, he's good. He is, I love him because of his ability, his versatility. I think he can play 2 or 3 positions on the floor, definitely the 3 and the 4. But, at some time, he shoots the ball well. We didn't have that. Mo was really good. Mo was probably one of the better rebounds that we've had at that position. Donte is a little different from him. You'll see him and Dennis Parker a little bit play some of that position. His ability to step out and shoot the ball behind the 3-point line is really going to help our program.
That was Graham actually asking the question about his neighbor. What was that for?
That was the one thing that stuck out to me is that it sounds like they kind of want Donte to be one of the main 3-point shooting guys. And I mean, here's the thing. I kind of tiptoed around this earlier when Paul Ihander and I discussed this on Next Up.
We don't tiptoe on the drive.
Well, yeah, we don't tiptoe on the drive.
We have the touch of a blacksmith.
Because Paul asked me, what do I expect out of Donte Styles this year? And this is the part of working sports radio that I'm running into where, because I know somebody and I have a close relationship with them.
You got a source?
I covered Donte in high school. I feel like I need to be a little bit hard on him.
You have a source.
And
what's your source saying?
Well, when you look at what he did last year at Georgetown when he started 32 games and averaged 12 points, 5 rebounds, shooting 43%, I feel like that's not going to cut in the ACC that much.
Ooh.
And 2 seasons ago when he was playing at North Carolina, actually the first 2 years that he played at North Carolina, just talking to some of my close North Carolina references that I trust with Carolina basketball.
Sources.
They said that at times he just looked a little lost on the court.
Okay.
So I'm hoping that, one, he's improved his basketball IQ going into now his junior season of play in college basketball, and 2, that he's showing something in summer workouts right now from behind the 3-point line that we're not seeing, in the highlight reels.
Have you seen the movie Hot Tub Time Machine?
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the term in that movie, Great White Buffalo?
Yep.
The Great White Buffalo is like the one that got away, the girl that you've been chasing your entire life, right? That's from Hot Tub Time Machine. From a recruiting standpoint, Styles feels like Kevin Keatts' Great White Buffalo.
That's exactly what it was. He recruited him heavily
out of high school.
High.
Recruited him, I assume, out of the transfer portal last time. Recruited him again out of the transfer portal, and finally, third time's the charm. He gets him to NC State. Here's what I think is the utopian response to this. Right? If things are going well for NC State, this is how it's going to go, or this is how it's been going. Kevin Keatts, as somebody that recruited Styles from Kinston and knew his game and was interested in bringing him in, you hope that he was watching him at North Carolina, right, scouting and those kind of things, going, they're not using him right.
Yeah.
Gosh, I need to get him on my team. He's good. They're not using him right. And then he went to Georgetown. And even though he had a little bit more production, you hope Kevin Keatts was going, that's closer, but it's still not it. They think they have it, but they don't. He's better than that. All you have to do is boop-a-doop-a-doop-a-doop, right? All you have to do is this and that and put him in this situation or give him the ball here. And now that he has him, all of those thoughts that he's been having the last 3, 4, 5 years finally get to come to fruition.
Well, that's another thing. I mean, nothing against Hubert Davis, but to me, I feel like at times he was thrown out there at random points in the game. Like, prime example, Carolina, his freshman year, North Carolina's opening game in the NCAA tournament to start off overtime against Baylor, Donte Styles as a freshman gets put out there. And you're scratching your head thinking, all right, he's barely played all season. Why now? But then he hits a big three-point shot to begin that overtime period, and that essentially jump-started the run for North Carolina to close out that game. So maybe there is a little bit of that. He just wasn't used at the right time. He wasn't a part of the right rotation, and maybe he'll get the best out of his playing ability at NC State under Kevin Keatts.
It's like I remember seeing running backs I knew in college playing for other teams and going like, they're between the tackles back, but their coach, mostly because of their size, was saying like they're a third down pass catching back. And maybe they didn't have the success there. Meanwhile, I'm watching going like, I'm telling you right now, if they came to our team, we would give them the ball on counters and dives. And sure, they might be a little undersized. It's not going to – they would be so much better. And you hope that Kevin Keatts, maybe not that obvious, that like black and white kind of yes or no, but you hope he's having those thoughts about Styles where he's going like, gosh, they're not using him right. And now that he finally, after all this recruiting, gets him there, gets to show everybody how it's done, coaching a guy that he's known for a long time. Lastly, the last transfer that he spoke about, that Kevin Keatts talked about, was Marcus Hill. This is what Kevin Keatts likes about Marcus Hill's game.
We talk about Marcus coming from Bowling Green, and a lot of people think because he's a mid-major guy that he may not have the same impact. He's really good. 20 points a game, can play some 1 and 2, really can score the ball. He's a paint touch guy, knows how to get to the free throw line, and I think those guys will be really good for us.
You heard it. I'm going to be honest, and I think it's always important for us to be honest. I did not watch a lot of Bowling Green basketball last year.
Fair.
Get me, right? Wasn't spending a lot of time in Rockford, Illinois, which is where he's from. So I don't know a lot about this player, but I know one thing, and I know that Kevin Keatts made sure to mention it from the very beginning.
Here's the thing that I love about Marcus Hill, just reading it up on his description right here. He's a JUCO kid, and I love me a good junior college backstory. I feel like they're just they have a little more grit. They're a little more tougher. And you mentioned, not many people were watching Bowling Green last year, but he's going from playing in JUCO to the MAC, where he was a part of the All-MAC first team, to now playing in the ACC, where I feel like he is ready to capitalize on his college basketball opportunities.
I don't even need to know all that. I need to know he averaged 20 points in college basketball last year, and he did so making less than 1 3 per game. So I don't know if he has the ability to be a shooter. His free throw percentage is decent, right around 75, so he might have it in his game somewhere. This guy forces the issue. 20 points per game is 20 points per game is 20 points per game. And that's why I believe Kevin Keatts real quickly there was like, I know he's a mid-major guy, but the guy scored 20.
Well, can I also let you know something? Going back to the last chance use days for Marcus Hill. In 2022, 2023, he led the entire National Junior College Athletic
There it is.
Association with 780 points, shooting almost 50% from the field. JUCO, baby.
JUCO, make it happen. But you look at the games he's had this year. He had 31 points against Toledo, 24 points against Ball State, 27 against Buffalo, 28 against Ball State, 28 against Western Michigan, 35 against Eastern Michigan, 29 against KC. Like, there's some legitimate big 33 against LIP, whatever that's named, Lipscomb, I guess. 29 against Western Kentucky. Like, he had some very, very high-scoring games. So you bring in a guy that can fill it up. 20 points in the MAC might be, 14 in the ACC if you give him that kind of volume. I don't know if he'll get that kind of volume, but 20 points is 20 points is 20 points to me.